Okay, so our topic is use of ordinance to bypass parliament. So first divide the topic into two parts. First, what is an ordinance? Ordinances are the law that is passed by the President of India on the recommendation of Union Cabinet or Cabinet Minister. It is basically done when the parliament is not in the session. It has the same effect as an act of a parliament. It is passed in order to have immediate action to be taken upon during any situation or maybe during emergencies. An ordinance can only be valid if it is passed by the Parliament within 6 months after reassembly of the Parliament, and if an ordinance is passed in the Parliament, it becomes an act. To bypass Parliament means to ignore a specific proposal or act to be not passed through Parliament and pass it by with the help of ordinance. Recently, a lot of instances we have seen where the government doesn't want a specific act to be argued by the opposition and make an immediate effect of the act with the help of ordinance. Its significance is when there is an unforeseen situations and to implement a law for which ordinance is used.
Ordinance is seen as a way to enable the Indian government to take any immediate actions on issues. Checking about the legality, Article 123 of Constitution allows the President to promulgate the ordinance on the advice of the central government. Ordinance can be passed only if both the houses of the parliament do not have any upcoming sessions. Ordinance was included into Constitution from section 42 and 43 of Government of India Act 1935, giving the power to then Governor General to use the ordinance. Some of the developed countries like United States or UK do not have such provisions for ordinance since the legislatures of these countries meet year-long. One such popular example of an ordinance that was passed is the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Second Ordinance 2019, which is related to the triple talaq. Under this ordinance, divorcing by instant talaq through SMS or calls is now illegal and a punishable offense with a stay in jail for 3 years for the husband. The ordinance was passed for 3 times within that particular year, confirming the penalty of jail term since the opposition parties and the community leaders were against the same. This ordinance was promulgated as it provides justice and equality to the Muslim women in the country.
The Farmers' Produce Trade and Commerce. The Farmers' Produce Trade and Commerce Ordinance 2020 was announced on June 5th. It provides an unconditional trade between the farmers' produce outside the markets. This law allows farmers, livestock producers, organizations, and anyone who buys a farmer's product to trade in full. The ordinance prohibits national governments from levying tariffs and market fees, leaving farmers, traders, and commercial outlets. Parties involved in a trade dispute may apply to the sub-magistrate for assistance in mediation. The magistrate will appoint a conciliation board and refer the dispute to the board. If the dispute remains unresolved after 30 days, the parties may approach the magistrate to resolve the dispute. Secondly, the Banking Regulation Ordinance 2020. The Banking Regulation Ordinance was promulgated on June 26. The ordinance seeks to amend the Banking Regulation Act 1949, which regulates the operation of banks and provides details on various forms such as licensing, administration, and operation of banks. The ordinance provides that a joint venture may issue equity shares, preferred shares, or special shares at face value or premium to its members or to any other person residing within the area in which it operates. The ordinance states that the RBI may exempt a cooperative bank or a class of cooperative banks from certain provisions of the Act by notice.
Though the validity of ordinance and its per se authority cannot be denied, its role and circumstances in which it has been passed can certainly be questioned. This brings us to the current scenario where not only the central government but also the state government has been passing ordinances regularly, some of which have created a lot of heat in the society. The coronavirus pandemic has added fuel to fire and has maybe become a cover for circumventing the law partially. Bills on important matters such as the Farmers' Bill, which could have been delayed to subject the bill to discussion and deliberation and general public's comment, was promulgated as an ordinance, thus ensuring that it lacked any legislative scrutiny and furthermore could not have been referred to any parliamentary committee. Since March 24, 2020, 11 ordinances have been passed by the government, out of which only 5 are remotely related to coronavirus and its impact, plus 2 are related to the healthcare sector. The government released 3 ordinances as part of the COVID-19 relief package to supposedly help farmers. Many experts have opined that such mandates firstly do not help the farmers, but also they only help the big agri-corporations, and secondly, that they have no connection to the pandemic and are thus not urgent. Not only do they not help the destitute farmers, they do not tackle the issues faced by farmers either, which makes us question whether it was valid to bypass the parliament. The policies pursued by the current government caused by dramatic and rapid decline in several indicators of democracy and liberal freedom. Freedom of expression has been curtailed and democratic deliberation has been bypassed. The issue that confronts us today revolves around some very pertinent questions. Has the route of promulgating ordinance become a way of bypassing scrutiny? Can the ordinance be promulgated at the whims and fancies of the executive, or does it have some prerequisites? Are these ordinances infringing the principle of freedom? Are ordinances being misused? Are they providing the legislative push to break down social order?